Hey there, welcome to episode 4 of the Modern Squared home build in Woodland Park, Colorado. This week we dealt with some rain, creating a swimming pool where there's supposed to be a basement. So bear with us as we start our footings, doing them ourselves, and some of the excavation challenges that we've had, and we'll help you follow along. Thanks, guys. Looks like the culvert is now in, and they haven't put in the road base yet. That'll be coming up. And then we're gonna need a retaining wall here. As you can see, we've moved quite a bit of dirt. From an elevation standpoint, that's got to be 5 or 6 feet taller up there. And quite a bit of digging to do. Sorry for the audio. Peggy and I came over this morning, no recording of that, but we marked out the actual house pins since the surveyor didn't give the excavator exactly what we needed. And I'll show you those in a minute because the gas guy just showed up and I got to talk to him. Okay, so good conversation with the gas company. I think we have a good plan. Again, these are the pins that he had to take out in order to bring the footing depths in here. The plan's a little unique. There's a courtyard that goes in between here. So this is actually exterior. And there's our swamp. Let's take a quick look. And we're using my gimbal or my microphone, so excuse. There's a pin. So those are actual house corners, exterior pins that Peggy and I put in once we got past the learning curve of the laser level that does the 90 degrees. I'll get into that more later. That's it. Progress for today. And 3 nice buck deers came right up over that edge while we were standing right there, put in the pin. I'll put the pictures in the video. Okay. All right, so today was day one of doing this work by ourselves, doing the footings, laying them out. And it is also the hottest day we've had here in Woodland Park so far this year. And it is what it is. Yeah, I'm exhausted. It's about 5 o'clock. We didn't film it all during the process because I was just trying to figure it all out, how to get started and so forth. So you don't get that. But we had a lumber delivery here. And 2x4s for the Fast Foot or FabForm Fast Foot forms. And some 1x4s for us to make stakes out of and use for the center supports going across. So let me show you what we were able to accomplish today. I'll turn this way. The camera's going to be right, and the sun's going to be in my eyes, but that's all right. There it is. So this is what we were able to get done today. We had to figure out exactly from the excavator had us mark the pin for the exterior of the wall. But as you can see by the dig for the footing, I think he was looking probably more at a traditional 2x4 wall instead of an ICF wall, which is 13.5 inches wide. Yeah, so what we dealt with is the pin with the white paint on it there. That is the pin that was the outside of the ICF wall. And what we had to calculate was, since that's 13.5 inches wide, we want the ICF wall centered in that footing. And that left, I think, 5 3/4 or 5 1/4. I'd have to look, 5 7/8. 5 3/4, I believe it is, on either side. So that's the distance you see here between this pin and the edge of the 2x4 that we're using for the form. So that gives us exactly 24 inches, and we use the elevation level to calculate out what we needed for elevation based upon, we had an elevation pin over there. You can see it in orange. That is 8,312 feet. And that gave us the ability to calculate the top of the footing, giving us a 10-inch footing, exactly 24 inches wide. And then all of these stakes that are standing up on the side, those will eventually get cut off and even so that we can put our FastForm fabric in. And then we can, we'll have another board, probably 1x4 that goes across here, 27 inches. That'll give us our 24 and lock that down so that these forms don't move at all from a width perspective. And then we'll just have to screed around those. Those will be periodically every 6 to 8 feet. But that's all we got done today. The mud hole itself drying up really well. We did have the Rocky Mountain Group engineering come out and do a soil test and said we are good to go from a soil perspective. He said you couldn't ask for anything better from a soil perspective in terms of doing your foundation and footing and stuff. So that's it for today. I think Peggy and I have had enough of the heat and enough of the work, being our first jaunt into actually doing the work. So the body's not in shape, muscles are all sore, and we'll have to see how much we can get done tomorrow. So we'll see you then. Okay, I'm going to do a quick handheld video with the just the phone, and I'm going to show you guys what we're doing here for alignment. So one of the things we did is we invested in the, is that Stabila? I'm probably mispronouncing that. Anyhow, this is the model we got, the LA 180L. And the reason we did is it does self-leveling. You level the tripod as best you can, and then it does self-leveling. But this particular one shoots a laser beam in 2 different directions within 5 degrees, and it auto-adjusts. So if I know I have 2 points, like I do from here to that corner pin over there, I know that this pin here, you can see it, a little red dot right right on the tip of that. I'll even hold my finger there so you can see it. There we go. But that's the center point. And I'm leveled it up with this one down here. And I do that with this receiver. And we tell it to self-level or self-adjust. Not self-level, but self-adjust from an alignment perspective, which I've already done, which is why it's telling me everything's great. But otherwise, it would go through the cycle, and it actually, the motor moves that unit there back and forth until we get a tone like this. And then we simply press this button here, that sets it. And then once that does that, that gives us a perfect 90-degree laser line going the opposite direction over here where Peggy's at. So like this pin here. Oh, we're too close. There we go. So that pin, and then more importantly, which is where I'm going to go up here, I want to set a couple pins for this footing. That is right up here. And that's actually going to be a problem. We're going to have to get our excavator out here to correct this footing, but I'm going to put a couple pins in there so we can see the issue. The issue is that's the outside point of our 13.5-inch ICF wall. It goes 13.5 inches this way, and the footing's even wider. So we have 5 3/4 on this side of the outside of the ICF wall. And then from this point over, it's 18.75, I believe. So, well, it's 24 inches for the footer, but 18.75 from this point over here, which is going to be into the dirt. But in order to confirm that, let me stop that. In order to confirm that, we're going to go ahead and lay out the rest of the garage. And again, apologies for no microphone and for not using the stabilizer, but it's a work day and it's hot. But we've got the corners in for the foundation down here in the basement, and that was difficult because we had to align those laser beams from up there. I just dropped something. From up there, we're gonna have a T-wall here. That is a step footing that goes up from here to the garage wall. And then that's a house corner right there. And this is another T-wall, or a step footing that's gonna go that way. And you can see the footing up there with the pins. And then we have one more over here. And again, we'll have the step footing go here, and we'll go up about 10 feet. And you can see the pins up there already. House corner here over by the ramp. So we're almost done laying out the basement. We have most of the upstairs done. Just need to finish the garage, which probably will not be today. So hopefully a better video portion for next time, for tomorrow. It's not gonna be pretty, but here's the first time users tutorial for how to use the Stabila laser level to get that 90-degree angle for you. So first, when you set it up, make sure it's in the middle here, because it's going to adjust both sides. And then you can kind of see by these 2 points here on the top of that, you want to line that up kind of in a line between the 2 pins you're trying to align on. So I can see that slightly off. And then of course you want to level it. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and then I'll be right back. Okay, when I say level it, of course, it has an auto level capability. When you turn it on, it auto levels. And that's why you'll see the laser dot that comes out of here. It'll move on the ground. Hopefully you'll be able to see that. But you want to get it close, right? Because it can only auto level so far. So I'm going to turn it on, and we'll wait for that dot to appear. It's doing its auto level. Let's see, I can see it. I don't know if you can see it on the video, but you can certainly see it on my hand where it weighs off. And so I suppose you can slide this back and forth. I haven't had much luck with that, especially with a little hook back there. So what I've been doing is simply trying to keep the tripod in the same inclination, do some adjustments. I don't like their tripod, by the way. See here, we're still slightly off. So we're gonna go again. It's actually much harder to do when you're trying to film at the same time. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. All right, I am back. You can see the laser dot is actually on the pin right here. You can see it on my finger. So we're close enough. You can see here, we're aligned between these 2 points and that pin. So we should be able to find the target. And that's where we take this out. And this notch goes at the bottom on the dirt. I'm going to press and hold this button here. And that will tell it to go into adjustment mode. And the video is going to be bad because, again, I'm one-handling it. So apologies. It's going to flash. Once it does that, I'm going to try to get it flat, or halfway flat, and aligned with the pin. And you can see here, it is adjusting back and forth. It goes high speed first, and then it goes low speed. And you'll see there, if we have it properly aligned, it'll beep solid tone once it's perfectly aligned. What that does is it gives us a 90-degree exact laser going in the other direction. Here it is, the red light showed up, there's yellow, it's getting close. Should be good, there's green light. Now theoretically they say it goes past. Now what I'm going to do is press that one button again. This button here, that sets it, and I'll just verify. We're right on the money. And that means now we have a 90-degree laser. Now that we've lined up this way, this laser is exactly 90 degrees. So when I come over here, it'll tell me exactly where my wall pin needs to be within 90 degrees. But I'm going to need to do it down there in that pit. Okay, so today we're working on finishing out the footings on the slab on grade portion of the house. And this is the way we're doing it. We made a little template over there. I'll zoom in on. And it just has the width of the actual footing below it, which is an F24 or 24 inches. And then it's, that's on the top. And then it's 3 inches wider on the bottom. That gives us our 1.5 inch rail board on either side. And then we already know from the measurements with our 13.5 inch ICF wall that if that's the outside pin of the wall, which it is, and this one over here in white, then it is 5 3/4 inch on the outside side, leaving, I believe it's 18 3/4 on the other side of the footing. And that's our 24 inch footing with the 13.5 inch ICF wall centered right down the middle of it. And then we were gonna do the basement. We actually hauled everything down there yesterday and then had to take it all back out because we discovered that there is not enough room on this wall, back up a little bit, of the basement. We can barely get the forms in there, but there's certainly not enough room for people to dig a French drain in any way, shape, or form. Same thing with that wall over there, the whatever side of the garage that is, or the basement. And then that special footing over here, which is the back wall of the garage kind of storage area. That one also, that we can't even get the forms in there, it's so tight. So really almost 2 feet needs to be taken out of there. So all the pins and all the work we did for that may have to come out again, and we may have to go back down and remeasure everything, because once he gets his equipment here tomorrow morning to, well, he has equipment here, but he's off in another job. But when he gets here tomorrow to address this, we're gonna have to obviously move some of those pins that are gonna be in his way. So Not too excited about that, but it's the way it goes with construction. You take the good with the bad, and there's always something to overcome. But it rained last night, but not a lot, so we're good. We got some good progress going, and of course that's all done. And then as soon as we're done with this, we'll jump over there, finish that section, and then we will address, if we can, this footing in front of the garage. Today is Monday. Our progress is, we pretty much got done over here with the slab portion that goes to our step footing. And then again, apologies for not using the gimbal, but we got pretty much down that other corner too, where Peggy's picking stuff up over there. And we're gonna call it just because it looks like it might rain. We want to get everything covered and put away, and we need to go down to the springs to pick up some equipment that we've ordered. Like and subscribe, please. That's it for this week. Please join us next week for episode 5 as we continue to work on the FabForm Fast Foot footings and setting up the forms ourselves.